Welcome back, everybody. I hope you're all excellent. I've got the Triaxis and a MIDI controller out today, and I kind of just want to make this video for myself and share it with all of you as a reference point because I want to show you how to set up continuous control changes on your Triaxis. You'll need the version 2 software for your Triaxis, and you will need a MIDI controller or a MIDI expression pedal that can send MIDI CCs. If you have those things, you can set this up. It's a killer feature. It's a little bit of a hidden secret on the Triaxis. Let's get straight into it. Before we get started, dial in a tone that you like. I'm using the lead to yellow channel, so the C+ mode on here. I've got the treble crank, the middle and the bass turned down, which is the typical boogie tone stack thing to do. Dynamic voice is cranked up. I've got the lead to drive at halfway, the input drive at 3.5, masters at 3.5, presence is at 1. I'm playing my single cut PRS and it sounds like this. So I want that to be my rhythm guitar tone, and for this example I want to increase the lead to drive parameter. So I want more gain so that I can play some lead stuff with more gain. It's a wonderful little cheat code if you play lead guitar. So what we first need to do is make sure that our MIDI controller, which is the Xsonic Air Step right here, and I've got a Fractal EV2 expression pedal hooked up to it, more about that in a second, that they are on the same MIDI channel. So if I press this program/channel button here, the Triaxis is on MIDI channel 1, and I've set my Air Step commands on MIDI channel number 1. Now, really briefly, I'm going to be using the expression pedal over here for this example, and I have set this expression pedal to MIDI CC number 6. The Air Step is pretty straightforward to program. There is an iOS and Android app that goes along with it, so you can just plug in these CC values. Alternatively, I've set each of these foot switches to be MIDI CC as well, just CC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they will be useful later in the video. But for now, all we have to remember is that this expression pedal over here is MIDI CC number 6. And with that, what we're going to do is hit the Shift soft key 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And you can see two things have happened. This particular parameter, the input drive, has started flashing, and the program/channel display here is reading 2 zeros. So what we want to do is select the parameter we want to tweak, which was the lead to drive. So I can just press any of these buttons here, and lead to drive is going to start flashing. Next, I need to assign this parameter to the MIDI CC that I want to use, which we remember was MIDI CC6, this over here. So let's use this control here and set this to 6. I'm going to hit enter so that that saves that particular controller mapping. Okay, now that we've done that, we've basically said, hey, this thing over here, the thing talking to MIDI CC6, is mapped to this parameter right now. We're going to hit shift again. And what happens now, you can see this has gone back 2 zeros, and what we're going to program in here is the amount we want this parameter to increase or decrease by. So let's just say turn this up to 4, and these are going to correspond to 4 increments on this particular parameter, which increases by halves. So it's going to go up by 4 halves. So if I've done this right, it should go from 5 up to 7. Okay, pretty straightforward. Let's hit enter and save that assignment. I can then hit exit, and watch this. When I push down on this controller, my lead to drive goes up to 7. So I can do some playing, I can lean over and press down on that expression pedal, and my gain will increase. The advantage in doing it this way rather than changing programs is that it is absolutely seamless. So with that example, I've got CC 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 programmed over here. I could set each of those to a different parameter in here, or I could set multiple parameters to the same CC. So let's go back into this same preset, and let's say when I turn lead to drive up, I want the mid-range control to come up as well. So we'll hit shift 3 times again, and I can go over here to lead to drive. You can still see the controller is on number 6. I want the middle to be on number 6 as well. So for whatever reason on my unit, it's mapped to 62. Let's turn that all the way down to MIDI CC6. And let's say I want the option to increase the input drive on its own. So let's map that, say, to CC number 1. So that will be this foot switch here. I need to press enter. So that will save it, and I don't think I saved it on the middle. So got to go back and turn this down to 6, and remember to press enter. Alrighty, let's do that. Hit enter, and we're good now. So next step, hit shift again. And what we're going to do is, how much do I want to increase this middle control by? Let's turn it up, say by 6 increments. And again, I'll hit enter. Let's go to the input drive. Remember, the input drive was set to this foot switch here. Let's crank that up as well by, say, let's go 8 increments. Why not? Let's have a little bit of fun with it so I can have an extra gain boost over here. And my lead to drive, I wouldn't mind turning that up a little bit more. Let's set it to 6 increments again there. Hit enter so it's all saved. Watch this. If I push down on the expression pedal now, the lead to drive and the mids are going to increase as well. So let's have a listen to that change on its own. That's pretty cool. Now, if I press the foot switch corresponding to CC number 1, CC number 1 was mapped to this input drive down here, and look at that, I'm getting way more gain. So I've got 2 options now. I can push down on my expression pedal and increase the lead to drive in the mids, or I can just give myself a gain boost by pressing this button here. And from there, it should be pretty straightforward to see how you can extend this approach to multiple parameters and multiple CC values. Now, this is kind of continuous control changes here. With the expression pedal, we were just sweeping from the minimum to the maximum value. And with these CC command foot switches, I'm actually just toggling from a CC value of 0 to 127. You can see that when I push the expression pedal down, I don't get any of the values in between. They just clip between, say, the 0 and the 4.5 on the mid-range control, and 5 and 8 on lead to drive. So the extreme values in there. So if you've got the ability to send MIDI CCs or toggle between them like you can on the AirStep or any MIDI controller worth its salt, you can set this up on your Triaxis. I think it's a really killer hidden little feature in there, and hopefully this video will fill that gap where if you want to program this, you can just reference this and not have to go through reading the manual and a bunch of forums like I did just to sort it out. It's in there. It is a little bit fiddly to set up, but it is super cool once you do. Thanks so much for watching the video. I'll see you all next time.